How are you guys? Now today I'm going to talk about the Tokyo Gas and Electric Company armoured trolley. Now, the Tokyo Gas and Electric Company is not the first name you jump to when you think about the big Japanese industrial giants of World War II. You know, Mitsubishi, Kawanishi, Nakajima, Sumida, etc., etc. But the Tokyo Gas and Electric Company certainly played its part in Japan's war and in Japan's war in China. Now, there's not much written about these trolleys, and I have to thank Masari and his Encyclopedia of Armored Trains, which is an absolutely fantastic book. No matter what you are looking up, if they had armored trains, that is the book to get. Now, even the great Masari could only puts a couple of sentences about this train, about this armored trolley in his book. And that's really a pity that there's not much more knowledge of this trolley around, because this armoured trolley, in service from 1927 onward, certainly operated anywhere where Japanese railway lines needed to be secure, have security. So there's one photo of Ryan Malmasari's book, the same photos on the internet if you want to look it up, if you can find it. And there's a painting of Shinditz engaging one, and I couldn't tell you which gallery it is or what the painting's named. But I remember seeing it many years ago and thinking, what the hell is that? Well, now I know. It was a Tokyo Gas and Electric trolley, so definitely in service in Burma. And these ones, you know, I made myself, and I was fortunate. Now, I don't buy very much, as you know. I like to scratch build. I believe that wargaming, you know, should not be an expensive hobby. I believe, you know, that whatever you make yourself, you're gonna get more. You're just gonna love it more, you know. So these armored trolleys I made over a weekend. I don't know about the paint jobs that I put on them. I might repaint them, I don't know. I went to my local hobby shop. I don't go in there a lot, and he had 2 or 3 boxes full of second-hand railway stuff in HO. And I went through the box, and because I was thinking of these. I've been thinking of making these for a while, but bogies for moving, because what's the point of having a train if it doesn't roll along the tracks? You know, that's a bit harder to do. So, and get the spaces right and make them look right. Although the bogies probably aren't right, because this was probably propelled by hand, like the old Kalamazoo. Now these, Malmasari doesn't talk about how you're in service, but we can extrapolate. Now, if we look at the Japanese army, we will notice that there is a structure called the Combat Railroad Command. Now, the CRC of the Imperial Japanese Army is the core, or the formation of the army, the unit of the army that would operate armored trolleys and RSWs, railway security wagons. And we'll have a look at the railway security wagons in the future, because I'm working on one right now. I'm scratch building one right now. So we know that Japan had over 25 armoured trains in operation in China. And more than that, but this is minimums. And we also know that it was standard practice for Tokyo gas and electric company trolley to be the pilot and one as the tail. Now, if the armoured train will push these along and pull that along, and in the event of stopping, these would be sent forward or backward to investigate the track. And this was a system that worked very well for the Japanese, because obviously armoured trolleys are a lot cheaper to replace than armoured trains. Now, that was just the armoured train element, so that we know there are 50 in service just for that, with the Combat Rail Command. Now, as I said, the Combat Rail Command is it's a part of the army, but as far as the armoured trains go, only the cavalry and the infantry have control of armoured trains, because armoured trains are classified as having guns over 75mm. Now, there is a grey area about anti-aircraft guns, but I've never seen a vehicle that I would say belongs to the Combat Railway Command armed with anything other than machine guns. So a vehicle of the CRC, of the IGA CRC, would only be armed with machine guns, whereas the army or the cavalry, the infantry or the cavalry, would control armoured trains with larger caliber weapons. Now, the CRC was a branch of the army that was in service, as I said, throughout the war. Wherever you see these things, they are crewed by men of the CRC. Now, the men of the CRC are very interesting, because it appears that they are a mix between railway pioneers, combat soldiers, and railway pioneers and combat soldiers, and obviously armored vehicle crew. And they're a mix, and they always seem in photos to be more mature. And if you look at the of Japan's war in China and its securing of the railways, we look at the Japanese Northern Manchuria Railway, which is an entity that it is armed, and it does use Tokyo Gas and Electric Company armored trolleys. But as to identify what track I am not a model railway enthusiast, but the North Manchuria Railway runs on a different track to the rest of China. So therefore, it wasn't the CRC command just for the logistics of it. It was a civilian, quasi-civilian command. And that's the Northern Manchuria Railroad. And then you have another command which is, I can't name it off the top of my head, but yeah, there's another command structure for the rest of China where you use track that's 4.8 wide, which is standard European track. So the CRC were in combat with a few different types of armoured vehicle. Wherever Japan's felt she had a threat to her railroads, a ground threat to her railroads. And there's no figures of production, but as I said, you have to extrapolate. In my estimation, about 150 units would have been made, but I have no proof of that. But I know what Japan's needs were, and I've looked at the structure of the organisation, and that's my rough conclusion. Okay then, so these trains were in service these armoured trolleys were in service from day one in China, from 1931 to 1945, by which time Japan's war with China had become World War II. So by the end of World War II, the Chinese soldier had fought with the least, for the longest. Thank you.